What's up, guys? My name's Alec from Blackhouse Vapor Company, and today I'm taking a look at this guy right here, the Recoil Rebel. Now, what's different about the Recoil Rebel? Well, on the original Recoil, you didn't have any sort of adjustable airflow. What you got instead were two different top caps. You got what Grimm Green would call a Flavor Bro flavor cap, and you got a Clouds Bro Clouds cap. Now, the only difference between those two caps was the diameter of the airflow slots. One, the Flavor Bro flavor, was a 2.5 millimeter, and then the Clouds Bro Clouds was a 3 millimeter dual airflow slot design. On this new Recoil Rebel, you actually get a cap that's specifically designed with airflow control. And then you also get pretty much an identical cap to the Flavor Bro flavor cap from the original Recoil. Now, a lot of things have changed in this new RDA. Not a ton of things, but enough to where I think it warrants a little bit of an overview at least, if not a full review. I do have a broken hand, so I'm not going to be building on it because building for me at this point takes a lot of time, too much time to include in a video, and it just doesn't look good at all, and I struggle the whole way. So I won't be doing a build on it, but I do have a build on one already sitting over here. I'm going to vape on it, tell you what I think about building on it from what I have done off camera, tell you what I think about the flavor, the vapor production, tell you what I think about this design versus the old Recoil, and then give you my complete and final thoughts. So let's bring it up close and personal, and I will show you what comes in this package. We'll get to it. All right, guys, here we are. We are up close and personal with the Recoil Rebel box, and I'm going to show you very briefly what comes inside of it. So let's open this guy up. First off, we've got this top cap here, and this is going to be your flavor top cap with that snake bite style airflow. If you look directly onto it, you actually can see that it's slanted inwards, and if you look downwards at it, you can then see that the machining goes all the way through like that. Now on the top, we've got this proprietary drip tip setup that's the same as the original Recoil, which means if you've got any sort of DHD caps or anything like that that fit your original Recoil, then they will fit on the Rebel. However, the Cleto caps, the Petri caps, all of those caps are not going to fit on this guy. They just won't fit. They are too small. This is a proprietary size, and you need to have Recoil specific top caps to fit this design. Now here you can see we've got the actual atomizer, which comes with the new airflow control top cap. The cool thing about this airflow control cap is how many options you have for airflow control. You can do one turned off, just the top one. You can do the top two closed off, bottom two open, and then you can do just one on the bottom open, or one on the top open, two on the top open. So if you're building your coils higher or lower, depending on what you like to do, you will find something with this airflow control cap that works well for you. At least I think so. There's so many different options for different heights and different sizes of airflow on this airflow control cap. I think it really is a huge improvement on the original Recoil, which had no airflow control whatsoever. Now we get on to the deck. Now this deck, if you've ever seen the original Recoil, is very similar to the original Recoil. The difference is that instead of having a center positive block and two negative posts milled into each side, now what we've got is a block system where one block is negative, one block is positive. Obviously the negative milled into the deck, the positive is going to be insulated with a peak insulator. Now this might look a little bit odd to you just right off the bat because you're seeing it and you're saying, okay, what's going on here? We've got posts, but we've got this huge amount of space on either side of the posts that doesn't seem to be used for anything. It's just kind of there. Now what that is that's where this comes into play. This is an Ultim 1000 ring, and this sits in your deck like so. You see that? Interesting. The idea behind this, and I've watched Grimm Green and OhmboyOC's videos on these, and so I have a general idea of what they're trying to do here. The idea behind this Ultim ring sitting inside of your deck is to create a lip so that when you're using it, after you've wicked it and built on it, you can put this guy in here, and when you turn it sideways, you're not going to leak juice because this Ultim ring is creating a lip to prevent juice from spilling out of your airflow, especially on that huge airflow control setup that they've got going on. I've been using my Recoil Rebel now for about a week, and I haven't used this but the first few days. And the reason behind that is it seems a little gimmicky. First off, it prevents you from having enough space to build big coils, because this is infringing on your coil space, in my opinion. This deck is fairly large, but with this Ultim ring, it goes back to the original recoil size, which is a little bit pointless. Now, in terms of actually preventing juice spillage, I think the opposite. I think that the Ultim ring actually created more spillage because it took up more space in my well, and so I couldn't actually fit as much juice in my well as I'm used to on most 25 or 24 millimeter decks, and so I was getting more spillage. Once juice gets on top of that Ultim ring, it's very difficult for it to get back down to the bottom of the well so that it can saturate your wicks and your coils. On top of that, I just think it pinches your cotton a little bit too much as well, and maybe that's the way that I was wicking, but when I put that guy in there and I had it all wicked and ready to go, it just seemed like it was pinching on the cotton, and my cotton actually got darker much faster with the Ultim ring in there than with the Ultim ring out. We've got this little bag of trinkets as well. In this little bag of trinkets, you've got some extra post screws, you've got some extra O-rings, which is probably good because these O-rings are super tight. They are ridiculously tight, and I think if you were to use this, especially if it's not very saturated with juice, if those O-rings aren't being lubricated properly, I think you might have some problems with ripping O-rings. Anyways, guys, that's what comes in the box. Let's bring it back up to FaceTime. I'll vape on it. I'll show you the production on it. I'll kind of at least try to describe the flavor for you, and you can decide for yourself if this is a device worth picking up for you. So, back up to FaceTime. Whoa, look at that. I forgot. This is a 10 to 18, so I have tons of room to work with. Whoops. Sorry if it was a little dark originally. It's still a little bit dark, but I had it a little bit zoomed in, and if anyone knows anything about filming with DSLR cameras, you know, if you zoom in, you lose a little bit of your light. Here is the Recoil Rebel all set up, and I am actually using the Flavor Bro flavor cap. Now, some of you are gonna say, well, that's not really cool. You should be doing the review on the airflow control cap, and I'll tell you the problem that I have with the airflow control cap. It's too wide open. It's too much airflow. Now, I'm somebody who really likes a lot of airflow, and the Recoil Rebel airflow control cap is just too much airflow. I really can only vape on it with 2 of those 4 airflow holes open. I can't do more than 2, 2.5 maybe, but 3 or 4 of those air holes open, and it's just so airy that your vapor becomes wisps and there's no actual density to it whatsoever. And so I think that even though it's cool that they considered the airflow control for a lot of people, it's just not for me. It's not my thing. I enjoy airflow control generally, but I actually really like the Flavor Bro flavor cap. And the biggest positive side to me is the deck itself being much larger on the Recoil Rebel as opposed to the original Recoil. This guy, the actual post holes are the exact same size as the original Recoil, but the way that the deck is much larger in diameter, it makes it easier for me personally to put 3mm inner diameter coils on this deck and not run into any issues, not any shorting issues, nothing like that. It works very, very well right off the bat. I've got my Recoil Rebel put on my Minikin Reborn, and we are at 0.18 vaping at 89.9 watts. I've got about half battery left. On this particular setup, I've already taken 192 puffs, so I kind of have an idea already of what I'm going to tell you guys, but I am going to vape on it just a few times, show you guys the vapor production, and kind of just in general, the loudness of it and everything like that, so that you can see for yourself, you know, what's going on here. There's no funny business going on, but just to let you know, I have taken 192 puffs on it, so I've developed a little bit of an opinion already, and we'll get into that in just a second, but here we go. Here's the vapor production. Now I am using nichrome, solid nichrome fused Claptons. That's nichrome inner and nichrome outer. I believe that these guys that I put on here are 26 gauge. Dual 26 gauge wrapped in 40 gauge nichrome. They are giving pretty good flavor, to be honest. This Flavor Bro flavor cap, it is so smooth and so flavorful. It really is fantastic. Today I'm vaping this Yogi Original Granola. Oh, there's the focus right on my face. Yogi Original Granola. This is fantastic. It's a granola bar flavor. It's I just went on a camping trip. I took this bottle and you can see what happened to it. It's gone. It was delicious. Perfect camping flavor, perfect summer flavor. Really gets you in the mood to get out there and go on a hike or something like that. It just is delicious. It's really good. It's got all of those nutty notes that you're expecting with a little bit of creaminess, just a tiny bit of creaminess, brings it all together really nice. And this RDA accentuates every note in this flavor perfectly, really perfectly. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not using that Ultim 1000 ring that was included, the little lip. And the reason for that is that it just seemed to constrict my cotton, and I wasn't getting the full saturation that I expected off of an RDA. It kind of felt like a tank hit almost, where it struggled a little bit to keep up, and I think it's because of that lip. I took it out, and I haven't had any issues with saturation issues or leaking issues since. I actually had more leaking issues with that Ultim ring in than I did with it out. And that's just me personally. I don't know if you guys have had different experiences, if you do already have one of these. If you have had a different experience, please leave it in a comment down below. I'd love to know what you think of that Ultim 1000 ring and whether or not it works for you. For me personally, not so much. Flavor, fantastic, amazing. The Flavor Bro flavor cap, obviously meant for flavor, and it brings it. It brings it to the highest level. It really is a super flavorful RDA. This guy is built really well. Now, the downside, if I had to draw one negative opinion on the build quality, it's that the O-rings, not that they're too tight. Once you get them a little bit juiced up, they're fine. They work perfectly. It's nice. You can actually like pick up your mod with your RDA, and I mean, seriously. Whoa. Okay, little movement there. No big deal. But honestly, I don't have many RDAs that I would do this with. It's pretty tight. It still pulls off easily. It just takes a little bit of force and it doesn't leak, which is nice. But the downside I have is those O-rings, they sometimes get pinched, especially in this drip tip. They get pinched and they make it so your drip tip doesn't sit flush. Does not sit flush. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. The O-rings do tend to get pinched on this guy underneath, and that's a problem for me entirely because I like everything to sit flush, look good. That's my one build quality con. I don't know how you'd be able to fix that necessarily. Just use slightly thinner O-rings, especially for the drip tip. There's no reason for it to be on there that tight. I mean, you can just pick up the drip tip and flail this thing about, and the drip tip doesn't come off at all. There's really no reason for it to be that tight, and what it's doing is it's causing that issue of pinching the O-ring because it's so thick that it actually gets pulled underneath the drip tip as you're putting the drip tip on. Even if you do twist the drip tip to the side, I've noticed it's a hard issue to fix. It's something that you kind of have to fiddle with to get it to fully be sitting flush. The airflow control is cool, but is it something that I'm going to be using all the time? Probably not. It's just too much airflow. You can cut it down to 2 holes, but then what are you really doing in comparison to the Flavor Bro flavor cap from the original Recoil? Not much. It's pretty much the same, just without the snake bite. I will say with the thicker top cap on the original, you got a lot more heat retention, whereas you get a lot better heat dissipation on this guy. The black is, I think, some sort of Cerakote, and it does retain heat a little bit more than the stainless. The stainless Recoil Rebel, I think the same goes with the original Recoil. The black and the gold, they retain heat a little bit more. The black even more than the gold. The black and the gold way more than the stainless. But, again, that's one of those things. You're vaping hot, your RDA is going to get hot. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Now, the deck being bigger, that's nice, but the post holes being pretty much the exact same size so that they can fit that Delrin or that Ultim ring down in there, I wish they would have just bypassed that Ultim completely. I wish they would have just thrown that out the window and pulled those posts out to the side of the deck so that you had more space to put bigger coils in there. Make the post a little bit bigger, make the post all the way to the side, make the post holes a little bit bigger so that you can fit bigger coils in here, and just forget about that Ultim ring. It's really not necessary. And maybe there's going to be a squonk pin for this guy, which would make that Ultim ring slightly more useful, but right now there's no squonk pin for it, or at least not one that's included in the box, so why include the Ultim ring? Because really the only time you're going to have so much juice in the well where that's a huge issue is if you're squonking and you're pushing a ton of juice into your well, which is the point of squonking. Whereas if you're dripping down the top cap like I do, I don't have any problem with over dripping to the extent that I need a lip, an Ultim lip in there to keep everything neat and tidy. I can take care of that all myself, and with the snakebite airflow on the Flavor Bro flavor cap that's included on this, it doesn't leak anyways. If I were to rate this 0 to 10, I would probably give this guy 7.5, maybe 8.5. It's really good. Build quality's fantastic. O-ring tolerances are a little tight, but that's nice. It's better than them being loose. The Ultim ring, cool, but kind of gimmicky in my opinion. Just really not necessary. Shoot, man. What else is there to say? That's pretty much everything I've got for you guys today. The Recoil Rebel. If you don't have an original Recoil, heavily consider picking one up. If you have an original Recoil and you want a bigger deck, or you want the Ultim ring, go for it. If not, it's pretty much the same thing. The airflow control's meh. It's big. It's very big. If you like to be able to pull your entire lung capacity in 0.5 seconds, sure, why not? You get the new Recoil Rebel because the airflow is ridiculous on it, on the airflow control cap. Way too big for me. Anyways, that's all I've got today. Now, if you enjoyed this new background, I kind of moved around positions a little bit. Whoa, there's a light here. Nice. Good job, Alec. Anyways, if you guys like this new background, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm kind of trying to change it up a little bit. I've got myself kind of a little bit of a desk going on over here. This is actually our juice counter, our juice tasting counter, but I've got a little bit of a desk going on here. I like it a little bit more than the couch, I think, because I can move around with my hands. Doing the up close and personal is a lot easier at this position than it is over on the couch where I have to reposition everything when I want to get up close and personal with it, whereas here, you can just tilt the camera downwards, look at it, boom, bring it back up, we're good to go. It's super fast, but you know, the couch is nice, and I've got more lighting over there. I've got some more professional looking lighting over there hanging from the ceiling, whereas over here I have a ton of lights. As you can see, I've got a ton of lights just to kind of make everything brighter and better looking, as opposed to over there I don't need to use nearly as many lights. Soon enough, hopefully I will have you know, my own desk to do these reviews on, but for right now I'm just kind of floating all around the different places in the shop thinking, okay, where can I do a review now? Where can I do a video now? I don't know. We'll find out. We got lots of space in the shop to work with, so I'm just gonna keep floating around until I find something that really sticks. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Blackhouse Vapor Company's YouTube channel if you want to see more content like this. I am working to get as much of this content out as possible for you guys. As you can probably see, I've had a rough couple of weeks. I've been kind of getting back on the bandwagon. I've been recovering. I've been starting school. There's a lot of stuff going on right now for me, but I'd love to keep making content for you guys. Thanks so much, guys. My name's Alec from Blackhouse Vapor Company. We'll see you next time.